Or gradually entering the rainy season, at least here in Abuja. I don't know what's like in your side. It's 28 degrees in the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of sunshine, Sunrise Daily. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf.
Well, it's 33 degrees here, even though yesterday it rained. I don't know, maybe cats and dogs are small. You talk about how it went down here in the city of Lagos yesterday. Even though there are parts that would say they didn't experience any rain. But guess what? Google still says it's excessive heat in Lagos. Amaya Makinde, good morning and welcome. And talking about excessive heat, Maokwe, the traffic in the city of Lagos yesterday, oh gosh. No, please don't say, thank God I left Lagos. No, you haven't left Lagos. We can always drag you at any time. But first, let me take you to Echo Bridge, this morning. This is Echo Bridge. It's one of those bridges in Lagos, particularly on the island. This one, of course, is one of those that connect the Lagos Island with the Lagos mainland parts of the city of Lagos. And as you can see, it's in its element. But this is, this particular experience is fairly back in time, but it might experience the same thing, in recent time, particularly because of what we understand has happened on the Independence Bridge, which was announced by the federal government. This is Independence Bridge. Some serious work, as you can see, is ongoing. This is why so many people experienced horrible traffic yesterday. Horrible traffic. And we understand that this closure of that axis is going to be on for a bit. The federal government, in making that announcement, said that the Independence Bridge will be closed starting April 1st for essential maintenance and rehabilitation works, adding that it would remain closed until the end of May 2025. Now, you may also need to know that the stretch of road, the section of the road from the National Open University of Nigeria through Bonny Camp Bridge down to Independence Bridge will be closed to vehicular movement. And the Bonny Camp Underpass Bridge service lane inbound Independence Bridge will not be available for motorists. So alternative routes are online for so many people. Mark, this is the experience ongoing in Lagos now, particularly on the Lagos Island. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in Abuja, but what's your take?
Pretty same in Abuja, where?
Yes, because you people are always constructing. Abuja is always constructing. You guys are always constructing.
Will greet you if you are from Delta State. Let me greet you how the people of Delta will greet you. They also say, cool traffic. Oh, so sorry. Because yesterday, I tell you, a number of my friends called from Lagos. And giving me the experience. A friend of mine was telling me about how she set out from the mainland at about 9 in the morning and didn't get to the island, didn't get to Lekki where she was going to at 4:30 in the evening. 4:30, from 9 a.m. or 9:09 or so till 4:30 in the evening. And I'm asking myself, with which petrol did she do that? But I mean, what must be done must be done. That's the truth. If maintenance needs to be carried out, then maintenance needs to be carried out. The question is how much awareness was given, because let's not forget that yesterday was the first day of work after the Salah holidays. A lot of people were returning to work, looking to get some work done, and then lo and behold, it seemed that they just walked into that situation and did not realize that a section of the road was going to be closed. And then the alternatives that have now been made available, do we have sufficient traffic officials on those routes to make sure that, people are orderly, that people are not shunting, people are following the rules as they ought to follow them. So, well, some people will say that the first 2-3 days of this sort of closure, you would see a bit of chaos. It will be chaotic, but much later it will ease up. Because how do you explain that people, a journey that would normally take maybe 2 hours at the max, it would be days that as they will say, traffic tie wrapper, maybe 2 to 3 hours. It's taking an upward of 6 hours to make that particular journey. I still cannot understand it, but it is what it is. Now you have been advised, look out for alternative routes. If you have no business going out, please, by all means, stay indoors. If you can conduct your business online, virtually, please do so. But while that was happening in Lagos yesterday, Lagos coming to a standstill of sorts, it was also waiting with bated breath yesterday at the tribunal, at the Edo State Election Tribunal, which has been holding here in Abuja. Don't forget, it started in Edo State, but had to move to Abuja owing to some reasons. And eventually yesterday, the tribunal gave its judgment. Well, we're now talking about the judgment, no longer about the traffic in Lagos. You're still seeing visuals of Lagos. But yes, the tribunal gave its judgment on the matter concerning the elections which held on September the 21st in Edo State. And the tribunal gave its judgment in favor of the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Monday Okpebholo. This was how it went down yesterday.
After about 6 months of legal tussle, the Edo State Tribunal has affirmed Monday Okpebholo as governor of Edo State. Before the commencement of the judgment, the courtroom at the National Judicial Institute, Abuja, is filled to capacity with lawyers and supporters from both sides. In the lead judgment read by Justice Wilfred Pochi, the tribunal said non-compliance must be proven convincingly. The tribunal says the failure of the petitioners to call polling unit officers, presiding officers, or even voters during the election proved fatal to their petition. The tribunal says most of the 19 witnesses called by the PDP merely gave hearsay evidence during the proceedings. Justice Pochi faulted what he termed as PDP's reliance on Section 137 of the Electoral Act to dump documents on the tribunal. The tribunal says it's not for the court to scrutinize documents tendered by the petitioners. The tribunal further adds that the BVAS machines tendered by the petitioners remain dormant, as it is not the duty of the tribunal to access the data in the machines. In the unanimous decision, the tribunal thereby restated that to prove overvoting, as alleged by Ighodalo and the PDP, there's a need to tender the voters' register, BVAS machines, and polling unit results, or Forms EC8A. Following this, it dismissed the petition for lacking in merit. The panel also dismissed the petition of Action Alliance for lacking in merit and being frivolous, and that of Accord Party for its inability to prove allegations of irregularities. Outside the courtroom, the APC jubilates. The Governor's Council speaks on the judgment and the purported judgment that leaked a day before.
It's unfortunate that when you read those so-called leaked judgments, they were written by lawyers. So it appears that they're out there to tear down the judiciary. If we destroy our judiciary, then we have nothing. Not just in election matters, but generally. If we question the credibility of the judiciary and tear it down, then the country is actually finished. Now, with respect to the judgments delivered had absolutely nothing, no semblance whatsoever with all the documents that were circulating.
The court has listened to the case. The tribunal has given its reasoning. Our clients have shown that they are not satisfied. So we'll wait for further instructions.
It's left to be seen if the PDP and its candidate, Asu Ighodalo, will appeal the judgment. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Well, that was how it went down at the tribunal in Abuja yesterday on the Edo election petition matter. But we'll be back in just a moment to take a look at that, what it is that members of the PDP feel and how it is that members of the APC also feel. In just a moment, please stay with us. Well, indeed, we are now looking at the matter of the Edo Governorship Tribunal. What's next for Edo politics, the verdict, implication, reactions, and of course their next step. Joining us this morning, we have Mr. Ogbeide Ifaluyi Isibo, who is a member of the PDP, an official spokesperson of the Aswe Godalu team. He's also a former commissioner for digital economy, science and technology in Edo State. Thank you so much for coming on the programs this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I see you're still able to manage a smile, and this is very commendable. The question is, you know, how did you receive the judgment yesterday? I mean, you heard some of the things that our correspondent, you know, captured in that report. She talked about why the tribunal rejected the petition of the PDP, who were the main petitioners. Yes, there were other petitioners, that of the AA and Accord Party as well, but it looks like all of that was thrown aside. But for the Aswe Godalu team, who were like the main petitioners, they spoke to the fact that they couldn't scrutinize documents. They spoke to the fact that they could not be scrutinizing the beavers machines, which were dormant. They wanted, you know, more evidence in proving overvoting. And they also spoke about hearsay, you know, that the witnesses that were brought were speaking from hearsay. They did not witness things firsthand. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me. We had absolute confidence in the documents we tendered in courts. We had absolute confidence in our legal team because we had put forth the wishes, you know, as documented in INEC materials that happened at the September 21st, 2024 governorship election, where the Edo people came out to express themselves and they gave their votes overwhelmingly to Aswe Godalu. But suddenly, INEC declared someone else the winner. That was why we went to court. And we were miffed beyond words when we started to hear the pronouncements of the judge, which was, in our opinion, contrary to the Electoral Act. I mean, if we were complaining about overvoting in 133 units and documentary evidence from EC8As from the polling units could show that the number of votes cast exceeded the number of accredited voters, the Electoral Act in Section 51, Sub 2 easily says that that is overvoting. You do not need a witness to prove overvoting, according to the Supreme Court judgment in Ihedioha versus Hope Uzodimma, where APC presented just 2 witnesses. And the Supreme Court said, in line with Section 137, where there is an issue of non-compliance, for example, and the appellant is able to prove by documentary evidence that INEC did not submit herself to her own guidelines, that all evidence was not necessary. You see, we pleaded about 3 cases. 1 was non-compliance, 2 was overvoting, and 3 was incorrect collation of scores. And so I will take them one after the other. In the case of overvoting, like I just said in Section 51, Sub 2 of the Electoral Act, that easily explains what overvoting means. We tendered documents, INEC certified true copies. These were INEC documents to prove overvoting. And we were shocked that the judges wanted us to bring 133 individuals from each polling unit to prove overvoting. How was that expected to happen when there was documentary evidence, not PDP documents, but INEC documents? And the courts had accepted those documents as exhibits, and INEC did not, you know, cry foul to her own documents. So we were, you know, in the street betwixt two as to what does the court really expect us to prove now. But if we've shown you INEC documents where those who voted in several polling units were beyond those who were accredited to vote. We showed you that in the forms EC8As from INEC. We showed you that in the beavers extract, also gotten from INEC, certified true copies. How else was the court expecting us to prove overvoting? That was one. Section 72, Sub 1 of the Electoral Act easily expresses that INEC is supposed to do a prior recording of the serial numbers and quantities of sensitive election materials, ballot papers, beavers machines. And where that is not done, the election in those polling units have to be invalidated. And so we brought evidence before the courts that in over 300 polling units, there was prior recording of sensitive election materials.
In other words, non-compliance.
Absolutely. And if the law says that the elections in those polling units should be invalidated, do justice to the case. And that's what we prayed the courts to do. And so we were also shocked to hear the judges tell us that we did not bring witnesses to speak to those. Witnesses were not supposed to be there when there was prior recording, because that was an exceptionally INEC duty. It was for INEC to prove to the courts that they actually did the prior recording, which they didn't do. INEC brought no witnesses. The PDP did. So how was it that the court was expecting witnesses who were not INEC officers to prove non-compliance when the documents obviously could show that there was non-compliance? Then the issue of incorrect collation of scores. There were several polling units where INEC, maybe by the fault of theirs, I don't understand, dashed the APC thousands of votes. I was saying, look at the originals. Look at the Beavers machines. Look at those who voted, because the Beavers machines captures the number of people who came to vote, and the photographs of these people who voted, they're time-stamped. So if the official results in the Form EC8A says 52 people came to vote in polling unit A in this ward, and there are 52 photographs of human beings who came to vote, and how come we're seeing results, sheets of 1,000 people, and 800 voting for the APC, and maybe a couple voting for the PDP? So we brought all this evidence before the court, in line with previous rulings at the appeal and the Supreme Court, and to tender these documents to say, INEC, to the court to say, look at what evidence we have, look at what INEC did, do the math yourself, and declare who had the highest number of lawful votes. And while I saw the video just now of APC members celebrating, as expected, the Edo people are mourning. There is nowhere in Edo State, from yesterday till this morning, where there's a group of people celebrating this Jordan, because Edo people gave their votes to Aswan Ighodalo. We know he won the elections. And people all over the world were looking up to the tribunal to determine. So the Edo case was going to be, what was going to be the last straw for the people. Do we still have any confidence in the judiciary? Let's see what happens in Edo. And all eyes were on the judiciary. And shockingly, they, as some people expected, they didn't prove to Nigerians that the judiciary was up to the task in this matter. Because how can it be that the Supreme Court will give a ruling saying that presenting witnesses on a matter of non-compliance or on a matter of overvoting was not necessary, as long as there was documentary evidence, originals, or certified true copies from INEC? How is it then that the tribunal is going to tell you that, oh no, you must bring witnesses? So were they expecting us to bring 757 witnesses to court to testify when we had documents to show gotten from INEC? So
you said, were they expecting you to bring 757? Maybe not 757, maybe some. Did you bring any?
No, of course we did. And we brought witnesses to speak to our cases.
Yeah,
but again, it wasn't a matter of the number of witnesses. We could have brought no witnesses. We were not required to bring witnesses when the Electoral Act 137 expressly explains that in a case of non-compliance, for example, oral evidence is not required where there is documentary evidence to prove the case. That easily tells you that we don't need to hear from 200 people to show that there was non-compliance in 200 polling units. So long as the INEC document from EC25B and from EC40A can clearly show that there was non-compliance here, that should be admissible in court.
You think that this was the judgment was given on the grounds of technicality? Because the court maintained, or the tribunal maintained, that this was about, that the witness whom the PDP presented were witnesses who were given their testimonies from hearsay. They were not people who witnessed firsthand, some of the things that had transpired.
The Supreme Court, in the case of Hope Uzodinma versus Ihedioha, admitted evidence from a police officer who was not on duty on election day, who was not even present at the polling unit, but the Supreme Court admitted his evidence and said that as long as those evidence were from INEC and certified true copies, they were tenable in court. So for the courts to have said that some of our witnesses were just speaking based on hearsay. That is not entirely true. We had 19 witnesses. Some were polling unit officers, some were collation officers. And those collation officers we brought were to speak to the cases of non-compliance, which was to happen at the collation centers prior to the elections. We had witnesses too who were polling unit officers who were to speak to cases of overvoting in their polling units. So it is not true that our witnesses were giving evidence based on hearsay. It is not only a travesty of justice, but the Nigerian people were not expecting fairness and equity and justice originally. And that is what worries me, because if we practice a democracy where the people are losing confidence in the executive, people are losing confidence in the legislature, and the judiciary appeared to be just that arm that we were saying, okay, let's see how it goes here. And then again, in line with the fears of the majority of the Nigerian people, we could see what happened yesterday. Then that should worry everybody. Where are we going? Forget about the PDP and how the election happened. Let us now, imagine as Nigerians, if the ethics and the ethos of our democracy is being bastardized like we see today, what then is the hope for the nation? What is the trajectory of this democracy that we tend to practice? Why should people bother about coming to vote or taking their PVCs if they feel that the outcome of the elections will be as determined by the president or as determined by the ruling class? Why should people vote? That should worry us more as a people. It doesn't matter if Aswan Ighodalo lost at the tribunal. We still have hope, though, that we're going to pursue this case on behalf of the Edo people, because it's really not about Aswan. The people are mourning today. The people are upset. The people are angry because the man who they voted for was denied the mandate by the tribunal. But we expect justice at the appeal court, and we expect justice at the Supreme Court.
Well, the side that, was declared winner by INEC and also in whose favor the tribunal ruled yesterday is also represented on this program. We have joining us right now Honorable Eizo Agbonayima, who is a former member of the House of Representatives and also a member of the All Progressives Congress. Welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much, Mokbe, and good morning to our viewers out there.
So it would seem that this is the first leg of the battle, well, let's say the second leg now, because the first leg was actually the elections. The second leg is now the Election Petition Tribunal. We have now heard from the candidate of the PDP that he is still going to go ahead to the Court of Appeal because he believes that there was a miscarriage of justice yesterday at the Election Petition Tribunal. How is your party reacting to this?
Well, I'm not speaking for the party. I'm speaking for myself as a citizen, as a son of Edo State. Precisely, of course, I want to congratulate the tribunal led by Justice Buchi yesterday with other of his members, Yusuf and Dewali. I was at the court yesterday. If you have to say, I'm one of those that have been treated badly by the tribunal because of what happened in the past regarding my own election, how it was bastardized when the tribunal chairman, while he was giving judgment, received a phone call after I have dismissed several applications filed by PDP then. But today, what happened yesterday is a testimony to me that there is still hope for ordinary Nigerians. I will hear from my son here I call him my son because the father, the mother, blessed memory, the father was a very close friend who represented my local government that I took over from him. A wonderful man. They are our future, but the truth must be, put straight. What has happened, for God's sake, let us call a spade that the good people of Edo State came out en masse and they voted for the candidate of their choice. That was distinguished Senator Monday Okpebholo. He won overwhelmingly. Let us not begin to whip sentiment.
Okay, let us...
He won the election. Yes, everybody had the right to go to
court. And I think, the reaction is about what transpired in court yesterday.
What transpired in court yesterday was clearly, a vindication of, the fact that Okpebholo won that election. You can't just come.
Did he win fair and square? I think that is the question there. Did he win fair and square? Because let's not forget, in the aftermath of the elections, there were election observers, and I'm looking for the second word now. Yeah, the people who observe elections, there's another word that they use. But let me just categorize monitoring, election monitors and observers. I know that there's a distinction between the two. That's why I was looking for the second word. But some of them who observe the elections, released their statement after their observations, and they said the process fell short of what was required in an election that was supposed to be free and fair and transparent. They put on INEC. So while the candidate of the APC might have emerged, there have been questions about the process which threw him up, which is what the PDP basically is challenging and saying, if you were to look through the processes that threw up this gentleman as the governor of Edo State, you will have problems. There are issues of non-compliance, there are issues of overvoting, and there's a third issue which they went to court to complain about. So based on that, would you say that he emerged fair and square? That's the question.
I would say emphatically, he won fair and just. And the good people of Edo State came out to give him that support. The reason why, don't forget, at the time, you have a division of where PDP were, divided in the state. Majority of the PDP came out to vote in support of APC candidate. That's what happened in Edo State. He understands, he knows that, because when it's good to say all this that, oh, was it fair, was it this, was it that? The truth must be told. This is a man who came in as a senator. Nobody ever believed in him. Don't forget, I was also an aspirant at the time for the governorship of Edo State. But I found this man worthy, a man who was never a politician. What he did for his people in Edo Central, what he did, why he was as a senator. Now, he came, whoever thought that he would be governor, he came because the grace of God and the people. Is the man of simplicity, the man that have empathy, who cares about the downtrodden. Look at what he did for his people. When the insecurity in Edo Central, nobody ever thought about it. As just a businessman, he brought out his own hard-earned money. He bought vehicles, he bought so many things to help his people to combat the menace of the insecurity. As a businessman, not as a politician. Now he became a politician. Never in the history of Edo State that, APC have ever won Edo Central. But this time, PDP have always been in control of Edo Central. But this man came out and he won overwhelmingly. His people came out to support him. That's what we saw. We saw a man with vigor, a man with, somebody that can be trusted, that does care for his people. So his politics is not about you or, it's about the people. And that's what he did. So be it fair or not fair, what happened yesterday was just too fair. I have to give the tribunal the kudos.
Exactly, and I want you to go back to the tribunal because you say that you have experienced injustice. Oh,
you heard it. Yeah, you have interviewed me on this.
Yeah, you said
how I was bastardized, the election that I won.
So what precisely stood out for you then that when you listening to the tribunal judgment, to the judgment from the tribunal, put it to you that this was fair, this was square, this was this is judgment that was given on the basis of what both parties have presented?
See, it is good to assume, that is perception, assumption. Oh, I won, I would have won. But the indices wasn't there for you to even think that you would have won the election because the people, they were not with you. Apart from the people who were not with you, majority of PDP were not with him. And look, I have said before, the majority of PDP came to support APC. Reason because they believe on that Senator Monday Okpebolo past antecedent. That's what they worked on.
Honorable AJ, you're not answering my question.
I'm coming to you.
We don't have a lot of time, that's why.
Well, I came in, I'm here now.
Yes,
I'm telling you what I saw, what I know, that the tribunal did everything. You can't just bring the beavers and dump on tribunal. The tribunal is not the one to decide, to tell you, what you should do. You fail to do what you ought to have done. Campaigning, telling the people, a man that is not known to the Edo State people, You just came from nowhere. You want to be governor. It's never done. It's not business as usual. So Edo people said, no, we're not usual. So Edo people said, no, we know this man. We understand him. He's a homeboy. You are bringing a stranger. That's what happened in the past. They brought a stranger. Obaseki was a stranger. Obaseki would have won a councillorship, if not because of Mr. Former Governor Oshomole, who made it possible for him. Now he came. He wanted to bring somebody through the back door to bring us away. I never met him as a politician in Edo, and you are just coming, you think you will win. Look, don't blame the tribunal. The tribunal have done their best. You can't give what you don't have. They don't have it. What happened yesterday? Let them go to appeal. I can assure you, there's nothing you can remove. They went, look, clause by clause, I was there from, I'm telling you, 8 o'clock till 8 p.m. yesterday. I said, do we still have people like this? Do we still have Nigerians of this impetus that can give free, fair, and just, fair, just? Okay. So, and we are not challenging it. Let them go to appeal. I've told them, I said, if I'm talking to my brother, Barrister Aswe, they have sucked your money enough because these are politicians. Some of the lawyers, they will suck your blood. They encourage you to go to appeal because they need that. They want your money. Knowing fully that that is what they encourage you to go to, to tribunal. Knowing fully that he lost, they encourage you to go to tribunal. They also encourage him again, go to appeal because of their selfish interest, not because of their selflessness.
Honorable, let me take Mr. Isibo's response to some of the things that you have said. You've heard him. He believes that, the candidates of the APC won fair and square, that it was on the field this was decided, not by what even the tribunal,
Well, Mark, it's obvious to the Edo people that Monday Perolo today does not have the legitimacy of the Edo people because they did not give him the mandate. We hardly ever heard him during the campaign. He never spoke to anybody. He was not on radio. He was not on TV. He wasn't speaking to the Edo people. Several news platforms requested him to come and express yourself to the people. Let's have an understanding of your thoughts. What are your plans for the people? Until he was declared winner by INEC, nobody ever heard him speak. So I'm amazed that my big brother here now is trying to whitewash somebody that people thought could not even speak. And suddenly we're told that he's this and he's all that. But the issue is this. The Edo people feel cheated, and that is why they are pressuring Aswan Ighodalo to pursue the fight for the people. It's not about him. They feel that we gave you our mandate. These people stole the mandate in collusion with the INEC. And so please fight for us, fight for our progress, fight for our prosperity. Go and appeal the judgment. And however it goes, fight it to the end of the game, which is the Supreme Court. Because, if the people really gave their mandate to Monday Perolo, you would have seen cases of people celebrating and jubilating all over the streets of Benin City today. But everywhere is quiet from yesterday. The people are mourning because they don't know this guy. They really do not know him. We don't hear him talk. We cannot feel his pulse for the people. Edo has been in the news for all the wrong reasons since he became governor.
Hold on, you said they don't know him, but he was a senator.
No, he was a senator in Edo Central Senatorial District. That's the smallest senatorial district in Edo State.
And he wasn't known?
He did not speak. He didn't campaign for senatorial elections. He simply, just a second, sir. Operolo won the senatorial elections just because of the third-term agenda of the PDP, and they didn't want the PDP to continue. And so it was a protest vote. Nobody ever heard him campaign, even when he was running for Senate, but that's not the issue. The issue is about the legitimacy of the government of Edo State today that Mr. Operolo does clearly not have. And that is why the people are upset. You would have seen in the news. It's either a case of insecurity here or insecurity there, or lack of leadership here, or inability to converse with the people. Even till this moment, Monday Operolo has not been able to address the Edo people on any issue. We saw a case last week, or was it this week, of a security challenge, in Iromi. Till this moment, the governor has not come out to address the people. This is what happened. This is what we're doing. This is what we've done. We saw him go to Kano. We saw him go to Katsina. What about the people who, as it were, you were elected to lead? What confidence do they have in you? Because he knows that these people do not really have confidence in me. That is why he's not seen it as a big deal to interact with the people. And this is the failure of the leadership that the people complain about today. And that is why we are heartbroken.
Now, just a moment. Yes. Are you saying that he didn't go to Uromi?
He went to Uromi on the day after it happened, but the Edo people are not in Uromi. We would have thought that by now there would have been a press briefing.
The Edo people are not in Uromi.
No, what I mean. Uromi is a city in Edo Central.
Of course.
The majority,
they are the ones
the majority of the Edo people do not live in Uromi. It is only commonsensical for a governor to address the entirety of the state. This is not just about Uromi. This is about Edo State, because we're hearing cases of people wanting to hurt people from Edo State, not people just from Uromi. So a reasonable leader who really has the legitimacy of the people would have addressed them to allay their fears and to calm frayed nerves. But that is not the case. Even almost a week after it happened, this should tell you that there is really no clear leadership in Edo State today. And that is why the people are upset with the outcome of the tribunal. The people are upset because the man who we gave the mandate, the man who we saw go to the marketplaces, he went to schools, he went to offices, he went to the homes of Edo people across the 3 senatorial districts, speak to them, express himself to them, sell his mandate to them. The man who we gave our mandate to was not declared winner at the elections, and he also lost the case at the tribunal, and the people are unhappy. And the sentiments with which I speak today are not just mine, but a collective sentiment of the Edo people. If you do an opinion poll today, I mean, I could watch the comments from Edo people on social media. Nobody is pleased with the outcome of the tribunal. Even across the nation, Nigerians were watching. Nigerians were watching the Edo State tribunal process to see what the outcome will be, to gauge the level of trust they should have in the judiciary. But sadly, there's zero trust.
Do you fear? You said there's zero trust, yet your candidate is still going to be going to the appeal court.
Yeah, we will have to pursue the case to a logical conclusion.
With no confidence.
Yeah, well, not absolutely. See, the thing is this. If we had an electoral act and we submitted our evidence in line with the electoral act, which says that oral evidence is not necessary where there's documentary evidence, which says that the INEC documents alone should be able to prove overvoting, where those who voted in a polling unit exceed those who were accredited, that's a clear case of overvoting. You don't even need to be a scholar to understand that. And if these documents say that, in line with the Electoral Act, and that was the petition we put before the court, and then suddenly you're dismissing the case, even with all this evidence that you admitted, INEC did not complain about, APC did not complain about, what hope or what trust or what confidence do you really expect the people to have? However, there's an appeal. However, there's an appeal process. However, there will be the Supreme Court, and we would have to approach all forms of this legal jurisprudence to make sure that the man who truly won the elections on September the 21st, as a result of the votes of the Edo people, is given his mandate.
All right, let's go to Lagos now. I know that Ayo has questions for you. I believe they'll be directed to you, Honorable EJ.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. You know, one of the things that comes to me, Honorable Agbonaima, is if the judgment had gone the other way, you'd probably be speaking the same way Mr. Falu Isibo is speaking right now.
Mr. Ayo, that is an understatement. That statement, I don't think, directed it to me. At least you've known me over the years. So saying such a question, that is, you are not speaking to the person that you know. Yes, if it had been the other way round, I still would have stand on my own submission as I'm speaking today. Let's call it spade, Mr. Ayo. This is a serious business. This is not a joke. Our country has been bastardized for too long. I was robbed. It happened to me, where the chairman of Tribunal, after he had dismissed 7 applications filed by PDP, dismissed until he got a phone call while he was giving judgment. What happened? He made a U-turn and excused himself, went inside with other of his members, came back 5 minutes later, and said that that is DSS report have no value. The DSS officer who came to testify that his testimony is inconsequential. This is Nigeria. It happened to me, where INEC, who changed the result of my election, called me, thinking he was dialing the PDP chairman. Don't know he was talking to the man he robbed. And this was in the open. And the DSS did a wonderful investigation. So what are you telling me? A man that was not known to Edo State, A man that could not even... My mother is from Eboimi, where he comes from. He's not knowing Eboimi, talk less of knowing Edo State. He came through the back door. You think we just say, what happened to Obaseki? Oh, let's go with this guy again. Obaseki came. He pretentious. We thought he was a messiah. He came to destroy and bastardize Edo State. Almost wanted to destroy our traditional...
Interesting, Honorable. I expect that you would also want to speak to the issues that's been raised.
The election that took place in Edo State, the people voted for distinguished Senator Mode Okpebholo. Nobody knew as when PDP worked against him, and the Edo people, the market women, the teachers, everybody in Edo State came out. I'm only sympathizing with my son here. He's in the wrong place. I was with him before. I was in PDP before with him and the late father who did so well when he was in the House of Reps. He's no longer here. I'm advising you. I'm telling you the truth. Edo State is moving forward. Look, you said that Senator Mode Okpebholo, he doesn't speak. We are not looking for somebody that will come and deceive us with big grammar and speaking all that. What is happening today? Go to Edo State. Look at the roads. Look at the school. The school that has been neglected for too long. Okpebholo is redefining Edo State, putting Edo State.
But Honorable, it will sound to me, my apologies, it will sound to me like...
If you go to Edo State, you'll be surprised.
Well, it will sound to me, Honorable, that one of the things that's happening here, I mean, definitely anyone would be upset to win an election, that's the point, and particularly when you believe that you have all, as you would say, overwhelming evidence to the contrary, and then, this happens. It's only natural for anyone to feel that way. But, at the end of the day, one thing is important. We have a nation to run. So let me ask you, Mr. Ifalu Isibo. You were saying that, the governor didn't come out to speak in during the campaigns and all. Well, I would have said that ship has since sailed. But exactly what is your issue with the election, with the result? Is it because it was a very slim margin, or what exactly is the issue that you have? Mr. Isibo, that's for you.
I'm guessing he's directing that to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the issue is that, yes, the issue is that we had tendered documents before the tribunal. The tribunal admitted all our documents as evidence. But we are shocked that the evidence we tendered before the tribunal did not add up in the decision the tribunal made. It's just like you telling me that, yes, you have given us evidence, these are INEC certified documents, but my decision is not going to be based on the evidence you have brought, but based on the fact that you didn't call enough witnesses to speak to your cases. And then we're saying that according to the Electoral Act, 137 of the Electoral Act, in the case of non-compliance, oral evidence, the Electoral Act says, is not necessary as long as you have provided documents, originals or certified true copies to speak to those issues that you have alleged. And that's what we did. So we're not, we don't have any issue with the APC. The issue we have is with the electoral umpire, the supposed electoral umpire, who was supposed to cancel results where there was overvoting, validate results where there was non-compliance, and have proper collation of figures. So
just to be clear,
these were our three complaints.
And so just to be clear, just a second,
mind-boggling to the average listener or the average Nigerian that the evidence tendered in court, which the court accepted as evidence, suddenly do not play a role in the overall judgment of a case. So what we expected to do, to bring about 700 witnesses to come and testify, I just mentioned that in the case of Tanko versus INEC, where Tanko took INEC into court.
If you can hear me, I understand the point that you're making, but I asked that question actually on the basis of what you said the other time when you're saying that, the people of Edo State feel robbed and all. There are people who voted on both sides of the divide. People voted for the PDP, people voted for the APC. So when you say that the people of Edo State are mourning because of the election that was declared, who are the people mourning? The ones who voted for him or the ones who didn't vote for him?
Well, let me answer this question, and let me take it over from where he stopped. He kept mentioning that some PDP members voted for Senator Operolo. That is really not the issue. Politicians are less than 5% of the generality of voters in Edo State. And Edo voters came out to vote for the man that they could trust, the man that they could understand, the man that spoke to them, the man they had confidence in, the man they understood his mandate, the man they understood the purpose he was coming with. I mean, Aswan Ighodalo went virtually everywhere around the entire world in Edo State to campaign to the people. And on the election day, they came out to vote for him. So after the tribunal judgment yesterday, and we are saying that even APC members in Edo State are not excited. Only a few of them, no, just a second, sir. Only a few of them who came to court were seeing jubilee. By now, I mean, with the power of social media, you would have seen buckets or pockets of them all over the place celebrating. But Edo people are quiet, even because some were giving Senator Operolo the benefit of the doubt. Oh, okay, for some reason you are there now. Let us see the kind of leadership you bring. Coming from a Governor Obaseki, where Edo was #1 in digital transformation, where Edo was #1 in civil service reforms, where Edo was #1 in education, using Edo Best. Edo was a cynosure of all eyes across the nation. We had Rwanda, we had Kenya come to Edo State to learn what we're doing in education. To leave such a pedestal to a point where you have a governor who can barely interact with the people, where we have a governor who is just moving all over the place. Some people say that there's a lot of motion with no distance covered, so there's no work done. And so the people are wondering, how do we live here to here? Even our brothers and sisters in the diaspora are very displeased with the manner of leadership Edo pretends to have now, because there's really no leadership. But we were hoping that the tribunal was going to do justice to the case. We were hoping that the judiciary was going to stand up to the occasion to deliver true leadership in this sense, to give the mandate back to who the people gave it to. But that's not the case. My big brother is trying to make me understand that people are jubilating in Edo State, but where's the evidence? It's all, his perception. But there's really no evidence, because the truth is that the people were expecting the tribunal to give the mandate to Aswan Ighodalo, who truly won majority of votes at the elections. And that is why it is hurting. Not hurting for me personally, but hurting on behalf of the people, because we are seeing the demeanor. The people appear to be lost, because this guy has not shown us leadership. The man who we thought would show us leadership was denied the case. And so it is left for us now, that the people are telling us, run with this case to the appeal court. Make sure that all the gray areas that you feel that the tribunal did not address, make sure that they are addressed at the appeal court, because we need the mandate to be given to the man who we can trust. That is what the people are saying. And if you go, after this interview, read the comments on your social media, read the comments on YouTube from the people, and you will be shocked. You will be shocked at what Edo people are saying, and not just Edo people now. In fact, I was overwhelmed to read.
Just one second. Can you hear me? Gentlemen, just one second, Mr. Fali-Isibo, if you can hear me. I'm not sure you've quite answered my question. The question is, who are the people that are not jubilating, and who are the people that are supposed to be jubilating, in your opinion? Because, Mr. Fali-Isibo, the election says that Mr. Okwebolo, we beg your pardon, Senator Okwebolo, secured almost 300,000 votes, and the PDP candidate secured almost 250,000 votes. So when you say some people are not celebrating, who are the people that are supposed to be celebrating? Who are the people that are mourning, in your opinion?
Your question is easy, and the answer is simple. If really 300,000 people, like you have said, gave their votes to Senator Monday Operolo, I mean, the streets of Benin today would have been clogged with people celebrating.
They already
if really they gave
the argument can also be out there. Just a second. Some of them can also argue that they already celebrated and they had no problem with the fact that the man who won the APC, the presidential tribunal, because as far as they are concerned, they already won. So why waste money again, particularly in these austere times?
Thank you.
People don't need to waste money to express themselves and how joyous they feel. People don't need to waste money to tell the people or to tell Nigerians that they are excited by the outcome of the courts. You know,
Anyway.
so it is normal. When Governor Obaseki won the tribunal in 2020, even if he was declared winner, we saw wild jubilation across Edo State when he was returned elected by the tribunal.
Well, there are many other issues, other ways to look at that same issue. My sincere apologies if you can hear me, Mr. Faluisi, but there are many other ways to look at that, because just not too long ago, there was an unfortunate incident in Edo State that informed the governor going all the way up north to, commiserate with his governor brother in Kano State. Maybe that is it, maybe that is not, I don't know. But let me come back to you, Mr. Honorable Abunaima. The challenge here is that of our polity. People continue to say all kinds of things, and the experiences that people had is their experience. There's nothing that we can do about it. When politicians are speaking, the people feel ostracized. When the people are speaking, it will sound like the politicians are not listening at all. Now, to what he has also said, on a normal day, there will be a lot of celebration, but right now there isn't any celebration. You probably come up with your own arguments as well, but the governor has called for his, brother, Mr. Asoye-Ighodalo, to join him and so they can work together in government. How do you see that happening? Do you see it happening? Do you see a handshake across the Niger, as they say?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. Sincerely, I was very happy to hear the governor speaking in that direction yesterday. I was at the court from morning till almost 8 p.m. last night. And when that judgment was, delivered, Senator Monday Okpebholo affirmed, I want to tell you that the jubilation was everywhere, but it was at night, when this judgment was given. And beyond that, the good people of Edo State are expecting the governor to continue to do the work that he has started. And for the governor to come out, having the mindset of having a teamwork, let's do this together, calling on his brothers, sisters, across the aisle, across the board. Whether you are APC, PDP, Labour, ABGA, we must come together. Even making reference to, Barrister Aswe, that let's come together to put Edo State forward. I think that is what is expected of him, and that's what he did. So if my brother, I'm sorry that he's trapped in the wrong jacket in PDP, I was there before, like I've said before, you are very intelligent, very smart.
Gentlemen, I want to
and
ask
appreciate
you.
So I want to say, let me just finish. So I want to say that Senator Okpebholo has started the good job he has started, and is doing that. And that's the reason people knew, they discovered a long time ago that this man is a doer, he's not a talkative. They say actions speak louder than voice. That is what he has been doing. He's expecting to come and speak here and there. No, he's working.
Let me ask you both, gentlemen.
Him, and that's what he's doing.
Let me ask you both, and I need quick reactions to this. What did you make of the leak, the purported leak of the judgments before it was delivered? I haven't looked at the leak. I don't know whether it was the same thing that was delivered. I don't know if you have seen it and to compare notes, but what did you make of those kinds of attempts? Well,
for me, I was embarrassed, just like many people who expressed their views too. Embarrassed because we were not thinking that we had sunk so low into,
were they the same thing?
Well, not exactly the same thing, but for the fact that there is a purported leak of judgments to be given 24 hours later, and it's in favor of the APC. And suddenly, we're seeing a twist in judgments where evidence is put aside and, the judges just give, the declarations from what we don't know. It worries us because it appears that the leak was to prepare the minds of the people that justice would not come to the PDP, justice would not come to the Edo people. And so that was what they saw eventually. So I'm thinking...
Was it to prepare the minds of the people? Some people will read it differently. But let me quickly take his own take.
This country, this social media that we have today, if care is not taken, we will use it to destroy our own nation, our country, our dear nation. It's appalling, disheartening, unacceptable. Nobody will ever. How can? So the bonding of proof rests on PDP, on that issue. The burden of proof rests on them.
Why?
Because even in the tribunal, when the tribunal, the justice were giving, you know, their information, every information they were giving, right there, when they say yes, you will see somebody inside the tribunal posting something different. What was being said by the chairman of the tribunal, Justice, you know, Bochi, different from what was being circulated, right from inside the tribunal. So they were doing propaganda machine.
So you think that there were attempts at disinformation and misinformation?
Of course, that's what has been going on. They started this that was a long time ago.
Okay, so
and they refused to stop this shenanigans.
I want you to speak to this because we've seen that the current governor of the state, Mr. Monday Okpebholo, has now offered the olive branch to the PDP.
That's who he is.
Yeah, but given your own stance, given just how you still feel about this, I don't know whether it is possible that, I mean, also considering the fact that the candidate of the PDP is also still going to the Court of Appeal, how is that going to work out for unity and uniting members of all Edo citizens, wherever it is that they might be, to work for one common cause?
Listen to me, Mokwe. I was an aspirant. Because of what happened, of my son's death, I have to step aside. But I have to take a decision. Among all these aspirants, who should I support? And I have to go back and see what others have done. And I look at it holistically that Senator Monday Okpebholo, a man from nowhere, a businessman, who came to contest the history. He won as a senator. He said he's not known, like my brother said. Now he came as a governor. Everybody rallied around him. Why? Because of his past antecedent. He's a doer. He's not a talkative.
Okay.
So now, the olive of brand that he has offered, and I believe with people like my son here, we encourage him to join the governor to move Edo State forward. If he really does have the interest of Edo State at heart, he should do the right thing by joining hands. Because a lot of people that were aspirant today are joining him to move Edo State forward.
Okay, Mr. Bonham, we're almost out of time. I need him to quickly respond to this issue. Yes, the governor has offered an olive branch. You guys are clearly pushing that away, aren't you?
Well, judgment was given at about 8 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
By 5 o'clock, there were videos already of the governor celebrating. And so we were wondering, judgment is still...
No, that's not correct.
No, but sir,
that is not correct. We left the tribunal to his house. Don't do that.
Excuse me,
that's
sir.
other propaganda.
Excuse me, sir.
No, I disagree on that.
Before judgment was given yesterday... Just a second, sir. Before judgment was given yesterday, there were videos already on social media of the governor celebrating. This is a fact. I mean, we had APC members show us these videos even while we were in court. This is a fact. But let's put that aside. Since he doesn't want to believe it, social media clearly would show it. At the time that video was released, judgment had not been given. But it is left for the Edo people, to come together. I did not have to be a part of the government of Monday Okpebholo to want development of the state. As a member of the PDP, as opposition members, we also have a duty, to always put the government on her toes. And that is what we're supposed to do as a party, and that's what we will do.
We'll keep tabs on this issue as the matter goes to the Court of Appeal. We have to thank you both for coming on the program this morning. Mr. E.J. Agbonaima is a former member of the House of Representatives, and Mr. Ogbeide Ifalu Isibo is a spokesperson, the official spokesperson of the Aswa Igodalo team. Well, thank you so much for coming. That's the program this Thursday morning.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogunyuso.